Greetings, it is I, Tentus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue our discussion on Shadowrun. We finished up the Matrix in the Wild West world last time. Let's talk about running the shadows. So the fact is, beyond the combat, beyond the magic, beyond the hacking, there are other things that are going to have to occur in the course of your adventures, in the course of your runs, that those sections don't handle. That's what we're going to start talking about now. Everything else that your game master might need to apply to you to fill in all those blanks between everything else that is going on. So let's talk about health. Now, we have handled and talked a little bit about the different types of damage that it can apply to you. When we were talking about combat, we were talking about different types of elements. We talked about different things doing different types of damage to you. But overall, regardless of the type of damage, regardless of the source of damage, once you have taken damage, you're going to have to heal it. Both stun and physical damage can be healed naturally, and both have their own rules about the rate at which they are healed naturally. Of course, stun damage heals much more rapidly than physical damage. It's a much less invasive thing that's occurring to you. But again, both will be healed by you over the course of the adventures through natural or unnatural means. Magic can heal you faster. Or technology can heal you faster, too. You can use medicine and medical technology to increase the speed at which you are healing. It helps you out to heal. So, stun damage. A body plus willpower, 1 hour rate extended test is used to heal stun. Now, you must be completely resting during this time. It also counts if you are forcefully knocked out or if you're unconscious. So regardless, if you're just asleep at doing nothing, resting during that period of time, you make your check, and the number of successes you get are the number of blocks of stun damage that you heal. So basically over every hour, you begin to heal up stun damage as long as you're resting, recovering, relaxing. For physical damage, if you should incur some of that, that requires a body times 2 test in order to recover damage that's physically dealt to you. But it's an extended test that goes over a single day. So every day of rest, you get to make this check and attempt to heal up some of the damage to your physical damage track and remove those boxes. Again, just like before, each success reduces 1 block away from your total amount of damage that's been dealt to you. It is very important to Note that you cannot heal physical damage if you have any stun damage. Stun damage must be healed first before you can even consider healing physical damage to you. And again, also noting, if you are physically knocked unconscious, or if you are drugged or anything that you were forced to be in an unconscious state, that counts as the rest you need for getting these checks done. So, yeah. Now, let's talk about glitches, because glitches do stuff to you. If I glitch on either of these 2 tests, it just means I need double the amount of time for that test to be completed. So for stun, I need 2 hours to make this check have been successful. If I'm doing physical, 2 days. Critical glitches, on the other hand, well, not only does it increase the amount of time before you can make the check again, basically it increases the time you spend, you also take an additional 1d3 boxes of damage to you. So you take extra damage for basically critically glitching either stun or physical while you're attempting to heal. You can screw up enough to basically injure yourself more in a way. Just through natural healing. You just don't heal. You get worse just because of the situation you're in. Now let's talk about some of the skills you can use to save yourself. First aid. You can use first aid in order to heal yourself. This is something you can actually do. What you would do for your first aid test is you roll your first aid plus logic with a difficulty of 2, meaning you need at least 2 successes to start getting actual successes to the healing. At that point in time, any successes you actually get start to apply. Each success you apply removes 1 box. This has to be made within 12 hours, and you can only attempt 1 first aid test per amount of wounds that are on you. You also can't apply this if you've had some magical healing to you. Basically, magical healing would count in replacement of you got to heal these wounds at one point in time. First aid can only counteract a wound once. Basically, then if you get injured again, you can use first aid on that new wound. Now, situational modifiers would apply to your check, especially if the situation modifiers is you're applying it to yourself, you get your own wound modifiers to yourself. And this takes a number of combat turns equal to the amount of damage that you have that you're attempting to first aid. A critical glitch deals you 1d3 damage and increases the healing time, of course, accordingly to the amount of new damage you have. You can only cure enough damage with first aid to a single wound up to your rank in first aid. So however much first aid again, that's how much I can heal up using first aid. Again, this means I limit the amount of damage I can heal to myself, but in a way then, depending on how bad the wound is when I applied it, that also makes a difference. I might need a new wound of like 2 damage. I can come to first aid that, but my old wounds of whatever they were, I've already first aided them, and I might have only healed them so much because of my skill. Now you can also use first aid to basically diagnose what's wrong with someone. You can roll first aid, and your dungeon master will determine what kind of threshold you have to hit. After you've reached the threshold, every hit you get effectively tells you more information about what's going on with this person or yourself, because you can use this to sort of diagnose what's wrong with me. I'm using my first aid to figure out what's wrong, or what's wrong with my buddy. Basically, you can do that with it. Let's talk about medicine, because you can use medicine to assist someone that's healing. This is a little bit more long-term, because you'd be using medicine in conjunction with someone that is attempting to heal and make their heal checks. You'd roll a medicine plus logic, once again modified by situations, modified by wound penalties if you're applying it to yourself. Noting this is not for combat. Each success you get on this test basically adds 1 to your healing test, the next healing test you take. So if I apply medicine to myself and I'm going for a long-term physical damage rest, then I get to roll my body times 2, and every success I got on that medicine plus logic test, I now get to add those as extra dice in my attempts to heal my physical damage over the course of this day. Basically, using medicine, I've sped up the time I'm taking to the amount of time I would have had to take to heal. I'm reducing that, making it quicker than I'm healing. Once again, glitches will increase the amount of time it will take you to heal. So basically, it'll still mess up your healing time. Critical glitches will do the same, plus also deal you that 1d3 damage. Medicine has the ability to be used in conjunction with either healing magic or first aid. Just because you use those two doesn't mean you can't use medicine. You can use medicine with either of those to heal any remaining wounds after you've applied those. Medicine basically just helps your natural healing. That's why you can use it in conjunction with these, because each of those attempts to remove damage from you. Medicine works with your natural healing. Now, just like with first aid, I could use medicine to diagnose someone and try to check how their body is, check what their wounds are, find out information exactly like I talked about with first aid. I can use medicine to do the exact same thing. Now, that's it for today. I began talking about, of course, parts of the game mastering that you're going to have to know about that don't have to deal with combat, necessarily. Don't have to deal with spells, don't have to deal with hacking. And of course we start with damage, health, healing. We talked about damage in the past. We've talked about what your health is in the past. We're really hitting into that healing section, because the fact is you're going to take damage at some point in time. Stun or physical, your body can heal both of those naturally. It really can, and I went over all the rules for how it would heal that naturally. And then today I talked about using first aid and medicine, 2 your skills you might have, to 1, reduce the amount of damage, or 2, possibly speed up the amount of time that you're healing. You make you heal faster, basically. That you speed up that, reduce that amount of time you're taking. Now in the next episode, there are a few more details when it comes to healing I want to go over. Then we're going to talk about damage overflow, physical damage overflow, which is a very important thing to discuss, and move into talking about toxins. Poisons, drugs, etc. Toxins. That's going to be a big one to cover. But if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It's your support of the channel, the Empire, the work I do. If you want to show out some extra support, you can always check out my Patreon, link in the description below. I have some great rewards there. It helps to support and grow the channel. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.